Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Living. You're joined with Vic.
And Jazz.
And we got some special guests in the building. We gave you a bit of a hint on Instagram. If you're clued up, maybe you would have clocked who we're on about.
I think one person's definitely already clocked, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you guys are so fast.
Yeah.
Damn, do you want to introduce yourselves, ladies? Tell the people who you are.
Hi, I'm Belisa, but some people call me Vels.
Yeah, my name's Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
And we're the Everybody Hates HR podcast.
Woo! Thank you for coming, by the way.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks
I've
for
got a
having
question,
us.
guys. Your podcast, Everybody Hates HR. Is it like, everybody hates Chris?
That's the
Was it
vibe.
inspired by that?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
We use it actually in our our logo. It's the same font.
Yeah.
And we're just hoping that no one comes to
Yeah.
collect any,
Copyright.
collect any quotes from
If
us.
he's got time on
He's
his hands.
He's busy.
I think they're doing a reboot though, but a cartoon version.
Cartoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
With some of the same voices.
Yeah, some of the same
Oh,
voices.
really?
Amazing.
I don't know if the main, Chris is coming back.
Is he not?
What's
He's
his
too
name?
busy.
The guy from Abbott.
Yeah.
I don't watch it, but I
forgot his
really
name.
Yeah.
want to.
you
Yeah.
don't
I
watch
like
Abbott
it.
so
No, but I'm going to.
No,
I'm
you
going
should.
to.
I think you should.
Oh,
you know.
I love it.
I just, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, so
I just need
good.
to make time.
Oh, you watch it?
I watch it. I love
Are
it.
you up to date?
I'm not on season 3. I've
Yeah.
done 1 and 2.
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
do
it's
like
good.
it. Yeah.
I like the head teacher. She doesn't care.
She's hilarious.
Is that Dee from Mauritius?
No, she's a teacher there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the stepmom from Mauritius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know she's
love
in it,
her,
but I don't know what her role is.
She's really
She's
good
a
on that
teacher,
show. She's
yeah.
really funny.
She's funny.
Yeah, she's funny. But yeah, let's get into your pod. Like, how did it begin? Like, how did you guys even think, okay, let's make a podcast about HR?
I feel like Lola has to answer that.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
It was
so,
her.
So basically, Valisa and I actually went to the same university and we have lots of mutual friends, but we didn't meet at uni. But during COVID, everyone basically just losing their jobs. And there was lots of people I felt anyway, putting really poor information out. So now I was by myself creating, because I used to create content on YouTube anyway. I was making threads and stuff on HR and stuff like furlough and that kind of stuff. And then Valisa reached out to me and she was like, oh my God, I work in HR too. And she had a platform called Black in HR, which she can talk about. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should connect. And I started a group chat with, I think 5 of us at the time.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of 3 of us who probably ended up talking more. And then I was just I feel like we should do a podcast. And then originally there was 3 of us, myself, Belisa and Foye. And then I think after about a year, Foye was like, oh, she wants to focus on other things, very much still friends and everything. And so, yeah, that's how we got here. It's been 2.5 years or something now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So cool.
Yeah.
Time goes so quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And did you find, because obviously, being online is a bit messy. So when Foya left, did you find there was a lot of speculation?
Not
And,
really.
Oh, this happened, or that must have happened.
No, but I feel in person, people ask,
Yeah.
Okay.
or for example, I was out with Foyer Care a couple of weeks ago and people came up to us and said, why did you leave? And I was just standing there
It's on you.
yeah.
But I think people think there's a lot of obviously you had recently another podcast where they had a similar thing, but with us it was very there was no issue or anything like that. It's just sometimes you try something and it's just not for you or it's not what you want to do. So yeah, it was really very simple. And I remember at the time I was thinking, oh, this is me, we're not going to do it anymore. And I spoke to Belisa and she was like, no, I want to do it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I was like,
Yeah.
we'll just continue.
Now we're here.
Yeah, love it.
How did you find the sort of dynamic change? Because it's a big difference being 3 of you and then 2.
Easier to coordinate diaries.
Yeah, I can imagine. Studio
think
time.
So yeah, it is. And I think dynamic wise, I feel Foy was kind of the mediator between us two, because out of the 3 of us who are the big characters, I'll say. So I think now it's just, us 2 fighting to speak.
Yeah. Pretty
And
much.
there's no mediator.
And it's good sometimes when you both have opposite views, because then the listener will get different viewpoints. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's cool.
We call Valisa on the podcast our resident Gen Z.
I'm done.
I'm finished. I'm finished.
And I'm the millennial.
Yeah. I wear
got-
the crown proudly.
She got onto me the other day for wearing ankle socks.
No.
What's wrong with this?
Sorry.
What's wrong with this?
Wait. No.
What's wrong with this?
Wait.
So that's how I can tell you're a millennial. Because you're wearing
Alright.
ankle
You're calling me,
socks. Like,
Wow.
Gen Z, we don't wear
She's
our...
not even. She's actually
I'm
delusional.
33, but...
Wait, hold on. Since you're younger than me, hold on.
We have to move with the times. We can't be wearing
What's wrong
skinny
with ankle
jeans.
socks?
To be honest,
we can't be.
jeans.
No.
I actually was wearing a crew sock.
What's wrong with a crew sock?
There's
You-
nothing
I
wrong
thought
with
the
a crew
crew socks was modern.
was trendy.
times.
Yeah. It was
Borderline.
like, it was
I'm
like a
still on
halfway.
trainer socks. Obviously today I'm naked.
Sex-
But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
still
yeah.
on trainer socks.
Yeah.
So is
I
that
mean, do you?
So
like, when if you like it, I love it.
basically, yeah.
Okay, what's wrong with skinny jeans?
We have to move with the times. You have to
Okay,
keep up.
skinny jeans. I
I've
have
moved
retired
on,
them.
I've moved on.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
retired them.
yeah.
I've retired
You
them.
have to move on. Yeah.
But do you know what it means? It means that now I'm actually asking people like, what are the girlies wearing?
Yeah.
Because I think I've said to Vic
Yeah,
before, I'm
yeah.
like, I think even jeans sometimes jeans are even out.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's like,
yeah.
what are the girls wearing instead?
It's tough to keep up.
So what-
I have a niece who's younger than me, but only by 6 years. So I look at her.
Not the inspo.
I look at her. I have a brother who's 21.
Okay.
So, I'm like, oh, what you guys
I'm
doing?
I'm just sitting into it.
I need to sit into it,
I wear whatever I like.
It is what it is.
But on the pod, like when it comes to like work topics, because we talk about HR things, like in case people haven't heard of the podcast, talk about HR, like kind of trending as much as HR can be trending, or like news stories that have like a HR slant, and then we give our opinion on them. And Valisa's like, I think she takes a more gendered approach where I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And sometimes we meet in the middle.
Yeah, like we had a TikTok and it was about Lola cold calling. So if you
Sorry?
On Teams.
Yeah, go on.
thank you. Yeah, so if you are available on Teams, she will cold
Is that a
call you.
thing?
No, as in like, like some people don't say, oh, are you free for...
Yeah, they'll just
She'll
call.
just call.
I'm sorry, what?
That happens at people's work.
Yeah.
Are you feeling
Thank
okay?
you, thank you. Because I was like, you can't do that to me.
It's like okay, do you know, I see Teams like the telephone.
Wow.
So I'll just call you, and if you're not free, then don't
Then you're not
answer.
free. Okay.
I don't pop up on with a gun.
But the
like,
thing is, but
answer the phone.
if you do get called, you're gonna feel obliged to pick it.
That's
Especially if you come from
you.
HR.
That's you. If you call me, and I will look at the thing ringing if I don't want to answer.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I
Not
thought
even a courtesy. Oh, are you free?
Yeah,
I just
I
sorry.
do that. I'll be like, oh, let me know when you're free. I'll give you a call or something like that.
I will call you, especially if it says you're
I
available.
didn't know that.
Then let's be managing our statuses.
yeah, but available. The thing about available is I'm still working. I'm just not in a meeting
But what are you available for?
to do my work. And
This is why I block myself out regardless of whether I have meetings or not.
because that means I'll be watching people. It's green. I'm
Do you know what? Yeah, back in the day, oh my
Wow.
god, back in the day when it was like Skype for Business, they used to have this thing where you could tag someone, so when they become available, it would tell you.
Wow.
No,
See?
that's too far.
And that's why we're different. Like,
far.
You know what it is? It's the environment that I grew up in. So I also I work in HR now, but I used to be a tax advisor. So I worked at Deloitte for 6 years, like in a kind of more finance consulting space. And it was just like literally client work dominated everything.
Wow.
So like you have to get the work done. So like literally if you're trying to get hold of like, them very senior people as well, and their diary is always full.
Okay,
like,
that makes
just
sense.
I'll
Grab them
just
while
tag
you
them,
can,
and then it'll
yeah.
say, Michael is available. I want to call you as soon as. I don't think Teams
Okay.
does that now though.
No.
It was a good feature.
just why Skype
Everyone's
has
really-
flopped.
Honestly, everyone's really melodic. Like, bring it back. To be fair, now you put into perspective about like senior leadership, and because I know they can be hella busy, so that does make sense. That does.
in my one of my recent like contracts that I was doing, I was working with someone and she said she just prefers that you message her before you call in. So I always messaged her
Okay, cool.
before I called
So it's
her.
only her.
Everybody else. Listen, people gotta be stating their preferences.
But do you find generally, because I'm a little bit like this, like I avoid phone calls as much as possible. I feel like the sort of younger generation, they like do not call them. And they don't like calling either. So have you noticed a bit of a generation change in that?
I think so. I feel like people at work who are around my age or younger, they will do everything but call you.
Yeah.
It will be a Slack message. It will be an email. It would even be a WhatsApp before,
hate
anything
WhatsApp.
before actually calling. Like calling would be like
Yeah.
a last resort.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then those people who work in sales and stuff, they're always the first
have
ones
to.
to like call you.
But
Yeah.
the reality is that at work, like they can flog me if they like. There's certain things that are just better to do on a call.
Yeah.
All this back and forth, email. Like, I'm not interested. Sometimes, okay, cool, everyone, let's jump on a call. Do 5 minutes, on the call,
Bosh.
the 4 of us, everything's gonna be
Sorted.
done.
Yeah.
But all this email, you want to be sending no.
And sometimes you can read things wrong on email. You don't even get their point differently. Sometimes if you jump on a call, someone might say to you, listen, I've been told by my manager I need to do X, Y, and Z. So this is where it's all coming from. They can kind of like be a bit more freer on the call. You can gauge people's personalities a bit better. You can even have like minimal chat, like, oh, how's your day going? You have that.
Yeah.
You can build those relationships. But when it's back and forth on email, you might feel like,
Especially in HR. Like there's certain things, like we're jumping on the call because like, I'm not writing nothing down.
100%.
really?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it could be techie, like obviously we work like for companies, right? So it's like we, the whole thing of everybody hates HR. Like it was Lisa's husband that actually came up with the name, and it just felt like it fit so much because people really, that's how they feel about HR. But the reality is that we're there to do a job, and like if you're a good HR person, you want to do that job in the most humane like way. But sometimes you got to protect the interests of the business. And so if somebody
That
maybe
is
did
what I wanted to
something,
ask you about,
if someone is maybe doing something and you're like, we need to think about how we're going to do this. You're not going to you're not going to tell them, okay, write it all down. You're going to say, okay, let's jump on a call so that you can make sure you're managing the risk.
Yeah. The worst is when a manager doesn't understand that and they've already put something in writing and you just have to say, okay, hold that. I'm going to put in time and then we're going to talk about it.
Sometimes I won't even respond. I'll just call them.
That's
when the cold call has to hit.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
That's when the cold call, you won't see any receipt, because when that data subject access request hits, my name ain't going to be on it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, because that was actually something I was going to ask you, because people always say HR are not your friends. They work for the company. They're always going to put the interests of the company first.
Yeah, but do you not also work for the company?
Everyone works for the company.
We're both employees.
Everyone is working for the company. So
I always say that it depends on where you work will determine how HR work. So if you work for a company where it's very cutthroat, it's very dog eat dog world, then HR are going to mirror that, and the way they're going to approach you and deal with different employee issues are going to be, you're not going to like it, because that's just how the culture is. But if you work for a company that actually values its employees, is, not necessarily happy that they have to go through these processes, but also understands, okay, we have to do it. You're not performing well. You're not right. Okay, but let's do this in a way where you still feel respected and you still have your dignity, then HR will still do what they have to do, but the way they navigate it will be different. So yes, like we are there to protect the business, but depending on where you work will determine how you navigate those difficult processes. Especially for me, like I'm in employee relations, so it's all bad news. Like I'm never, if you see me,
really?
it's never good. Like you're never gonna want to see me.
Well, what kind of issues? Sorry to pry, but what kind of issues do you?
So it's ER is like performance management, it's terminations, it's mutual separations, it's disciplinaries, it's grievances, it's investigations,
redundancy.
So all the the traditional, like I'm gonna call HR or call HR tweets.
It's Velisa that you're calling.
Me that they're it's not, because HR's so broad. There's so many things, but ER, you I'm not gonna lie, I'm not somebody you want to see, but because of that, I will try and be as like respectful and nice about it as much as I can, because I know that I'm not good news.
Yeah, it's like the bad news has happened now. It should be very solution focused. Okay, we're here now. How do we move forward?
Yeah.
So if you're like, because this is what people don't want to hear, and this is like, these are the times where it's hard to be in HR. Sometimes people come on TikTok and they'll say, oh, I got fired. My manager said this, my manager said. The reality is sometimes people ain't performing. Sometimes people are not doing a good job. Like sometimes people are saying, oh, they won't let me work from home. Some people are taking the piss when they work from home. Like, let's just keep it $1.50. Like all these people saying, oh, I'm working from home, I'm at the hairdresser. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't done that.
I'm finished.
I'm not saying, but if you're at the hairdresser, let's be working at the same time, innit? Like I've been at the hairdresser and I'm on calls. Do you know what I mean? I'm still working. Like no one can tell me anything. But it's like sometimes people come on, like if you see people online talking about HR stuff, it always seems like it's the employer, it's the employer. Sometimes the problem is the person.
Sometimes people are delusional.
Yeah, literally, like Delulu, like they are actually. So it's like when you're in that situation, it's like, okay, well, something has to happen, because a good company, hopefully everyone's been in a situation, well, not hopefully, probably, where you have a colleague who ain't pulling their weight. You want that person to leave. But if a company, like, it's those sorts of things that companies have to do things about people that are not performing because actually it's not fair on other people, doesn't make sense for the company. And then when you're in that situation, enter Valisa to come and say, okay, this is how we're going to deal with it. It might be the kind of company where they're like, oh, let's just push them out and treat them poorly. Or it might be a company where, you have a conversation and you say, look, things are not working. We can go through this kind of performance improvement plan, the PIP process. We don't want to. We're happy to give you some money to go, and that will kind of tide you over for 3 months or whatever until you find a new role. And that's probably for some people a little bit nicer. It's not nice because you would probably rather stay in the role, but it's a bit nicer than, okay, like, oh, you've got less than 2 years service, so we're going to boot you out and, hopefully you find something else.
Yeah. That's tricky. That's tricky. What would you say has been, I don't know, have you ever been in a situation where you are low-key on the employee's side?
Yeah.
High key.
High key, is it?
Yeah.
How do you manage those situations though? Because obviously you still have to put the business first.
It depends on what the situation is and who is involved. For example, if I'm dealing with a VP or something like that and they've made up their mind of what is going on, then it doesn't matter whose side. I have to just go with whatever the outcome is for the VP. But I will always vocalize, if I feel like, okay, we could have done this differently, or I understand where this is coming from. Or, for example, with grievances, if an employee raises a grievance, it's up to me to decide if I want to uphold it or not. And I've been like, okay, fair enough. The manager did do this or did say that and it was inappropriate, so I'm going to uphold it. They might not like it, but it's factual. So it happens all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's times where you I think it goes back to what Felice said about the kind of company that you work in. There's one company I worked in which was literally working in the pits of hell when it came to HR. They had no integrity. I lasted 9 months at that company. They were just terrible. They just wanted to be cheap. They had favorites. It was ran by 3, the stereotypical old white straight men, blah, blah, blah. And it's they just had no empathy for anybody unless you looked like them or you resonated with them. There was a lot of nepotism, all of that kind of stuff. And if you're in a company like that and some of the decisions that they make, you can feel like your hands are tied behind your back. And to be honest, you kind of just have to get on board or leave. But in most companies, I think that I've worked in, you can disagree with your manager or you can disagree with the line manager that you're working with. And even in a case where the mind is already made up, then that's the opportunity to then step in and say, look, by the letter of the law, you're not doing the right thing. The least we can do is let's really pay this person. Do you know what I mean? Or let's extend their notice.
Yeah.
Or even if you know that you could get away with it in court, you say, look, this doesn't align with our values. This is going to put this person in this position. The people left behind in the company are going to be looking at you sideways because they will find out. Yeah. So let's make this as nice as possible for this person. So you might not get the outcome you want, but at least you can put that person in the better position, the best possible position. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say as a Black woman, I have found that I'm in a situation where, when you're just not sure, am I being treated differently? Is there favoritism? I just feel a bit uncomfortable at work is the best way to put it. How do you think is best to manage that sort of situation?
We spoke about this the last episode we recorded, right? About feeling, it's microaggressions. Just knowing that they exist and then thinking, am I crazy? Or did that
nothing
sound...
outwardly. Yeah,
it just sounds... That just doesn't sound right. It sounds odd. And maybe if you spoke to another Black person about it, they'll be like, that's a microaggression. They'll know it straight away. But maybe if you spoke to HR, it's over 66% of HR are white women. They might not necessarily...
And there's obviously in that 30-something there's white men as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's I believe it's 6% of HR are ethnic minorities. So not Black, just the rest of us. Yeah. So the likelihood is it's going to be a white person that you're going to have to explain that to. And that's really hard to articulate. And then it goes back to the type of company you work for. And I know that diversity can be very performative in some companies and it's just, but those are the ones who are more likely to try to understand what you're trying to articulate. Whereas the ones who just don't care or the majority or not, it's going to be difficult for you to put that across. I think first point of contact should be your manager. if you have a good one.
What if they're the source of your
Skip
issues?
level.
Yeah, I would say go to your skip level, which is your manager's manager,
Okay.
and just explain how you feel
Mm.
and the impact. There's no point just saying this is what's happening and like it's upset. Okay, this is the impact it's having on me. This is the impact it's having on my work and how I'm navigating being in this work environment, and then put it in writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it in
in
writing.
And also you can gauge like when you've had the conversation, you can gauge like what the response has been.
Yeah.
And also I think something that sometimes people do, and I get why they do it, but you have to understand like human behavior and how it's going to set people up, is sometimes they go and say they assume the intent. Yeah. And I don't think, sometimes you might think you know the intent, but really you're not in someone's head.
Yeah.
So if you go with, this is with the facts of this is what happened, this is how it made me feel, this is the impact that it's had, versus that person did that to be malicious.
Mm.
Because that's when like, especially when
Okay.
it comes to like, if you're saying it from like from an ethnic minority perspective, as a black woman, people be like, oh my God, they're calling me racist. Like it just puts people in the wrong position. Even if you think that is what is happening, it's always better to lead with what the person did and the impact
how
that
it
it's had.
made you feel.
I've got like a mosquito video. Like there's this video about microaggressions which turns it into mosquito bites. I found it on YouTube like years ago. And whenever I need to explain what a microaggression is to someone, I send them this video.
Okay.
Yeah, to prep them for the thing, because this thing is hard. It talks about microaggressions like mosquito bites. If you get stung once, it's okay. But if you are constantly being stung, then it's really, really annoying and it can become unbearable. So you might sting me once, but when I'm here in this workplace, every day is something and it becomes like, death by 1,000 cuts. And I think that's the bit that people don't understand. They think, oh, I made one comment here, is that it? But it's accumulated with all the other nonsense that's happening in this workplace, and people just don't understand. And like, I think there's this whole thing of we don't need to educate people. Like, why should I educate you? But unfortunately, it's part of our job, to be honest. But unfortunately, sometimes if you're in that position, it is in your benefit to try to explain. Yeah, sometimes people are like, I shouldn't have to educate you. That's not, and you shouldn't. But sometimes it's in your interest, because there are those managers or are those people who actually get it, will twig, and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Hadn't thought about that. And there are the other ones.
Yeah.
What other roles do you have in HR? So you've got people relations, it seems.
Employee relations.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What other, do you have like?
So
is it payroll?
I'm a generalist, so I do like everything. So I'm more like people operations, but anything to do with HR. So like I'll do like the day-to-day stuff, like, when people come and ask questions about, like, I don't know, it could be anything basic from like, holiday, employee benefits.
Oh, okay.
It can be like, I also do employee relations, not that much of it. I do like HR strategy. So you look at the vision, the values, all of that kind of stuff, like how the HR operations runs on a day-to-day, learning and development. I also do recruitment. A lot of HR people would say that that's different.
Yeah, that's so broad.
Yeah.
But just want to like lay out for the people who are listening who are like, oh, I want to get into HR. As well, is there like, because I've seen some roles like HR people who their focus is on diversity or like inclusion. Is that becoming a thing now as well?
Yeah, I feel like DEI is a weird one.
That's the word,
Yeah, diversity, equity and inclusion. I feel some people just have fallen into it, especially after what happened with George Floyd.
Oh, wow.
Where, some people who, for example, were just like leading their Black Hat group or their,
employee network.
Yeah, which is the different networks that you have within the companies, or even like their Pride group. And now all of a sudden, I think I can do DEI.
Okay.
Yeah, that a lot of that has happened.
But is it like a different beast?
Listen,
I say beast, but different.
I think
Well,
it depends on the company.
Okay.
It depends on the company, what they want, what they're looking for. Like, do they really care, or is it a role to just have? A lot of people quite recently, like big companies, have got rid of their DEI.
Really? But that does not look good, no?
No,
Don't care.
it doesn't, but they don't
don't
need
care.
it
They don't
anymore.
care.
Because when the George Floyd stuff happened, there was pressure. There was like, what are you doing? Where is your DEI? Who are you? And they brought in all these different people to do it. And now
a lot of them were underqualified as well.
yeah, and now they're like, okay, we don't need them. Let's strip back on DEI. It's okay.
It's not a priority for us.
Is it more of a case that they expect all the employees to have that element of the diversity training?
I think they just don't care about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just don't care about it. And like, you can tell they don't care about it, but even the way they recruited some of these people, like what Velisa was trying to say very politely is that a lot of people are in D&I and they have no background. sorry, and I would say being black is not enough to qualify you, because sometimes people are like, I want to get into DEI.
You have
Do
to
you
do
really?
everything. It's not just black people.
Yeah, like are you gonna ride? Because there's some black people that tell you that they want to be in DEI and they're homophobic.
You know, it's true.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's like, do you want to be in that space? Can you really, like, are you here to fight for your particular cause, or do you genuinely care about diversity,
everybody.
equity, and
Yeah.
inclusion? Are you going to get behind the disability cause? Are you going to focus on gender? Are you going to deal with social mobility? Are you going to deal with all these things? Because it's very rare that you get a DEI role that is really focused on just one thing.
100%.
And that's why your lived experience is not enough to qualify you. You really have to understand like how it works, and you need to be very commercial. So I think it's a very important role to have. And I do some DEI work, but I think it's important to know what my limits are. So I'm not going to be the one that goes in and does certain things because I'm not qualified. Like, you know, a generalist is like, I don't want to say jack of all trades, but because the next part is master of none. But like I'm very good at being like a generalist, but there's some things that you need specialist expertise. So if, for instance, like there's times where like I'm doing an employee relations case, I'm on the phone to Valisa because I need to know, okay, how would you deal with this? Because she's a specialist, like she's really an expert in that area. Whereas I'm good to do like, you know, I'm like, she's like inch wide, mile deep. And I'm like mile wide, inch deep, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that DEI stuff is so important, but I just think the way companies have handled it and the way they continue to handle it is just really poor. There's some companies that have really put effort behind it and it shows. And there's other companies, they don't give a heck.
With that DEI stuff, is it kind of a case that people can get training for it? I just want to like think for like people who are thinking, I want to get into that. But I don't want my lived experience to be like, oh yeah, I'm black, so I can do all the diversity things. Is there like training that you can learn about different experiences? Is there HR training in general?
Yeah.
So you've got the CIPD qualification, which is what HR people usually go for. Or you can have a master's, like Lola, you have a master's in HR. So you can take different routes, but usually CIPD is like the qualifying body for HR. So you do that. It doesn't just focus on DEI, it covers everything. We were speaking about it on our TikTok live the other day that you should do your CIPD once you're in HR because it just makes it a lot easier in terms of like the stuff you're going to be learning about. You can just relate it to wherever you are. Like when I was doing mine, some of the work that I needed to do for CIPD, I had already done just because I was a HR advisor. So I was like, okay, take this because it's
good.
there. So yeah, that's the advice on that. But in terms of DEI, I don't even know. Like,
I was just going to say, like, the same way I've just told you, a lot of people are underqualified. If you know you want to be a good one, those routes are still open to you. So even if you want to get some experience that's going to help you, you can go do all that employee network stuff. Go and lead your Black network. Go and lead your Pride network. You know, get involved in that. Get involved in all those kind of talent initiatives, like recruitment initiatives or, you know, empowerment initiatives that come out of that. And that will be a good way to start because a lot of those things, they're really underfunded. So if somebody in the company puts their hand up and says, I'm going to do it, they'll probably let you. So I think it's good to try and get some experience in doing it. Also for yourself so that you can know, is this something I actually want to do? Because I promise you, working in DEI is the ghetto. It's not something that you want to do because if you like, I don't know if you must have with Black and HR, but like if you've ever been in a position with like a senior person telling you, okay, why should we care about this? And then you have to now put the business case for diversity. You have to say, oh yeah, well, it's good for business. Is that when you really want to say if you care about something is like we're literally human beings.
Exactly.
Like this is really human rights that we need to be treated equally.
That's even a crazy question.
Yeah, but it is the question that you'll get if you sit in those spaces. So the people say that they want to do it and they don't realize how if you care about something, it's actually much harder to do. So I always say to people when they tell me, oh yeah, I want to work in DEI. I'm like, okay, try it first and then see how you get on. Because I've led employee networks and I've had those conversations. I've sat in those rooms and I've spoken to CEOs and board directors and I've had to explain. And because it's the job, you do actually have to explain the business case for diversity.
Yeah.
And it's soul destroying.
We've got a few dilemmas. If we want to get into them, I'll pass the phone to you, Jazz, so I'm not the only one talking. So we've got one here. We've got some workplace dilemmas that you guys will be answering. So we've got one here. A colleague said, I had a sweet... Sorry, I shouldn't even laugh. It's not A colleague said I had voice sweet. I'll say this again. My colleague said my voice sounds like nectar. It was sweet like nectar. It made me feel uncomfortable. What should I do?
Sorry, you're right. I shouldn't laugh.
Hey, gotcha.
Well,
No, but
crazy.
it's the way
People are actually crazy.
you averted your eyes.
I've never even heard that one. Sweet like nectar. I've heard like sweet like what? Sweet like chocolate. I've never heard sweet like nectar.
I'm just like, what would make them say that? Like, where were you?
You actually crazy.
Well, like, I'm just so. I think it's again more. I need more context. Like,
But I think if
You know.
depending on the context.
yeah, like depends on the relationship you have with that person. Like, was this somebody that you've never really spoken to before and they've said it? Is it
Yeah.
someone you have a decent working relationship with, and you feel comfortable enough to pull them to one side and
Yeah.
say, your comment made me feel uncomfortable. And like, I know it was something that you thought was a compliment, but it didn't feel like one. Or if it's somebody you don't feel comfortable talking to, is there an ally that you can pull in that maybe has a closer relationship with them that you might also have one with, or your manager that could have that conversation with them and just tell them not to do it again.
Generally, that's the advice. If you
Yeah.
feel comfortable, speak to the person directly, because it is just it's the best way. If you're concerned about the relationship, it's also the best way to preserve the relationship. Most people will just apologize and they'll never. And a lot of people are very non-confrontational, and you don't have to do it in a confronting way. But if you just advocate for yourself and say, "You've said this, it made me feel very uncomfortable." Most people are not crazy and not audacious enough to continue doing that. Most of them will just pattern themselves correctly and you'll never hear from them again. Obviously, then you have the minority others. But if you can speak to someone, speak to them directly with any workplace conflict, if you can, if it's appropriate. Obviously, people get assaulted and stuff at work. Not that.
Is it?
No, I'm saying if it was like there was an assault or something, then no one expects you to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
confront the person who did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Is it a bit different if like that comment came from a senior person, as in someone that's sort of above you?
The same comment?
Yeah.
I don't think so, because
Because obviously that would make it harder to.
You'd be more
to them.
afraid. Yeah.
Well, that's when you would go to like an ally or your manager, somebody who feels more comfortable to have that conversation with them. But it shouldn't change what you do in terms of like telling them that it's uncomfortable. But yeah, it will feel a bit more uncomfortable for the person because they're senior.
And if it's like a consistent perpetrator, I think it's good to like, even if you don't feel comfortable, send it to them. Send it to tell somebody and note it down.
Yeah, that's what I was
just-
gonna say. Like, some people say just make a record of everything.
Yeah.
Everything that's happened or said or.
I think it's good to write it down. So even if you said like, thank you for your time. If you speak to your manager, say thank you for your time. Just to confirm what we spoke about, blah, blah, blah. I really appreciate your time. Then it's recorded. You don't have to do nothing with it. It may become nothing.
Sorry, do you mean like minutes of what they said?
No,
Like, if it was a meeting and then you say, oh yeah, and you said that my voice
No,
is
I
sweet,
would
like,
say-
Just follow up. Just
Yeah.
a follow-up email saying,
Okay.
thank you for your time earlier, about discussing blah, 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 blah. And then whatever the next action or step was going to be from that conversation. Because one thing as well, like being in ER, is sometimes those things are useful because let's say it was a senior manager who said that comment, and that person doesn't know that there's a full-blown investigation going on about all these other things that the person has said. And then the manager has the context and is aware and is like, okay, well, also this happened. So it's important for things to be recorded, not just for you, but just in general.
In the
for,
wider context.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Sorry, Vic, your phone locked.
If I know you, maybe I'll airdrop them to you.
Yeah. Actually, if I put my phone on airplane mode, does it still airdrop?
If you're connected to Wi-Fi, I think.
So I learned, oh my God, that made me sound
Go
too
on,
millennial.
Go on.
But I didn't realize that you could like touch phones and airdrop.
Yeah, but that's
You
new.
didn't know
That's
that?
new. So that's not fair.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dad.
Sorry, sorry,
Look at the ally
sorry.
over there. The millennial
Sorry.
ally.
Sorry.
When did that happen?
I think it was the last iOS update.
See?
Yeah.
See? This is what she... That's stuff
I'm
like
gaslighting
me.
you.
Jazz, did you get them?
Yeah, I got
Okay,
it.
let me delete them from mine. I'm done. Go on, hun.
All right. So I work from home and I absolutely love it. But it's definitely made me more reluctant to attend the workplace parties as they feel more intense when I don't know everyone. Do I push myself to go or make my excuses?
Oh my God. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you need to go.
Yeah.
Like, you need to socialize with your colleagues. Like, I know it sounds like, I really think it helps when you actually talk with your colleagues and like socialize with them. I know it can be sometimes if you're like naturally introverted or naturally not a social person, it can feel like, oh my God, this is quite heavy. But I really think it does give you that bond that really, really does help in the workplace. And it also can make people be like, oh yeah, I know Vic. Like it's just those little things. And also people can remember you for conversations like, oh yeah, Vic's into reading. We've got this reading group. Let me add Vic into it. But if they don't know you, sometimes it can be even harder to include you. So I really, really think if you can go, even if you stay for like an hour, you might meet one person and then that's one person you can go for lunch with.
Yeah.
So I definitely think you should go, like really, really make that effort, especially when you're remote. You have to kind of make that effort a little bit, I think, personally.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think you go to some, you don't go to others. Like, I think you need to figure out what the minimum. If you don't enjoy going, you don't enjoy going. Figure out what the minimum you can do so that people feel like you're around. And I agree with you. There is like a big part of working that is relationships.
Yeah.
And it is easier to build those relationships when you've met people. Even if you don't go every time. I used to make a joke that I used to go to my quarterly social. Yeah. Sometimes go to your quarterly social. When you're there, be there. Make the relationships, move around, speak to people. Like, it doesn't have to be every Friday that you're going, but sometimes go. Like, and also it'll be in your best interest. Like, when you can actually humanize your colleagues and get to know them better, your working relationship will also be better with them.
Yeah.
I personally don't go because
wonderful.
No, but my reasoning is different. I'm ER, so anything that goes down at these parties, I feel like I don't want to be there because I just don't want to be there.
But what about with the ER people?
We usually, so HR, I don't know if you find this, but most places I've worked, HR are quite to themselves in terms of we'll have our own team social, our own Christmas dinner, our own whatever. So I always know my HR team really well. In terms of the rest of the business, do you know what for me is I just don't want to ruin your fun.
Okay.
Because for example, if someone is going through some sort of like, I don't know, performance management with me or an investigation and you see me, you're giggling with your pals.
It's like seeing the Grim Reaper.
The Grinch that stole Christmas.
All I did was walk past and now your whole mood is ruined.
Now you're packing your load and you're going home.
Yeah. So I tend not to go for that reason because even the jokes, I don't like the jokes. Oh, HR's coming, blah, blah. Like, I hate those jokes. So, and there was a Christmas party I went to years and years ago and I saw stuff I knew I didn't want to see as HR. And I said, do you know what? This is not for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Vanessa works in like big companies and I'm more like a small company babe. Like she's like big global tech company and I'm like working companies which are like, maybe like between 100 and 500 or whatever. So it's different. So we don't have big, really HR teams. So we are forced to be, if you're going to socialize more time, you're going to be socializing with people that are not in HR. But I will say that as a HR person, I show up, I do my hair, I will never be the last person there. You'll never catch me.
I can't stay till the last
I'll like, make my excuses and I'll leave. Yeah. Then any nonsense you guys want to do it once I've exited. Yeah, you can be doing it. Not while I'm there. One time, and I say that because one time I was at this is very heavy trigger warning, like sexual assault. But one time I was at a Christmas party and someone came up to me and basically said that 4 years ago, like way before I joined the company, at a social, her manager had basically like propositioned her, not like forcibly or anything, but she felt like she couldn't say no and then basically ended up having sex.
Oh my God.
So she did therapy about it, blah, blah, blah. Came up to me while I was talking to the CEO of the company and she told us and she burst into tears. And I'm telling you, I haven't been the same since. If someone comes to tell me at the Christmas party they want to talk to me, I'll just be like, I'm stuck. So like for not to say that changed anything about like me being there or me not being there, but that happened at a social. So I usually just make my excuses and leave. And then after the Christmas party or the social, whatever, that's when we get our calls. We always get the calls after the Christmas party.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
100%.
always.
Yeah.
Always.
100%.
This person had sex with that person. This person. I was at one.
Wow.
Yeah, this person.
We did an episode about what not to do at Christmas parties.
Yeah.
Like,
No way. It's that bad.
People are bad. Like people have, people are like people get alcohol and they just lose their senses.
Yeah.
They lose their senses.
Yeah.
But afterwards, all the time, next day, chat. That's when the cold calls be cold calling.
it's true.
That's when they don't care about cold calling.
The team's message pop up. Oh, can I
It's
chat?
true.
The Christmas party was yesterday. It's like, oh God.
As long as alcohol is there, then the event, whatever event it is, there'll always be at least one thing like there. There was one company that I worked for, and almost everything they do, they fly everyone to Vegas.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, obviously you flew them all to Vegas. What do you think is going to happen if you fly all these people to Vegas? Like, of course there's going to be issues. Like even my job at the moment is when there are big events, I go. So I went to Barcelona, I've been to Vegas, I've been to California just to watch them because like things happen, you know? So it's just like,
I think them.
Yeah.
No, I think the culture around like, so I don't really drink, but the culture around like, that's my Gen Z thing.
That you don't really
Yeah, because
drink.
Gen Z's not drinking as much.
Do you vape though?
No, I don't do any of that.
That's
stuff.
a very Gen Z thing to do.
Yeah. I was going to say my bubble lung, but I won't. But yeah, so I don't really drink, but like I just think that I find the culture around alcohol in workplaces crazy. It's like
so bad.
You would never see, actually this is not true, you do see this sometimes or you used to, your employer would never be like, oh, let's all go out and do lots of cocaine. Some of them do.
I mean, some of them do.
Yeah.
But
100%. The idea of like, oh, we're celebrating, let's all go out and get smashed or let's all go out and get drunk.
That's the thing.
Let's go and give people something that's going to make them probably behave more poorly.
Like, why
Like,
can't
it's
we
crazy.
eat? We need to normalize eating. Like,
No, we
let's
do.
go, let's
We
go
do.
and
But
eat.
a
Not
lot,
every
a lot of
day
places have
Let's go and eat.
cottoned onto that now. Like, don't provide. I used to be so angry. You wanted me to come to a social
with no food.
There's alcohol. There's no food.
I know.
Run. They'll be like, oh, we're getting the next round in. What would you like? Chips.
Yeah, let's get the next food.
That was me. I was that person.
Yeah, I want chips.
Yeah, what do you want? Fish and chips.
2 pints of lager.
Yeah.
Chips.
Even crisp, like please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to the dilemma.
They should go.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Just us.
Got another one. What's the best way to get a promotion? I don't want to leave my job to get more money as my colleagues are decent. And I know from you guys' platform, I think you kind of spoke about like, you know, sometimes the best way to get more money is to leave to another job. But yeah, do you have any advice for this person?
I feel like what's your main motivation? Is money your number one? Because if it is, then you may have to think about leaving if that's what you really, really want. But if you really like the company and you would prefer to be promoted, you have to also be comfortable with the fact that it might not happen when you want it to happen. There's so many things involved. There's so much context of, does the company have budget? Is there a business reason to promote you? You know, is there a gap for your promotion? And just loads of different things. But also, if you do want to be promoted, write down everything you do, anything you achieve, any impact you make, any key relationships you have that have, you know, helped you achieve something else. Just write it all down. When you go to your performance review, you shouldn't be struggling to remember what have I done over the last 6 months or what have I done over the last 12 months. Just keep writing it down. Talk to your manager. And I know some people find it really hard, but talk your ish.
Yeah.
Like if you've done something, big up yourself. Tell your manager. Let your skip level know. Tell your manager to tell their manager what you've done. Like just make sure that people know who you are. Like you've got that visibility, so that when the time comes for them to discuss promotions, you're top of mind. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I would also ask, like, tell them, like, you know, I really want to, let's say you're a researcher and you want to be a senior researcher. Say, look, I really want to move into a senior researcher. You know, what do I need to do to get there? Where do you see I am, you know, versus being a senior at the moment? And what are the things I need to do? Because usually what happens then is your manager can be like, look, you're good, but these are the things that a senior can do that you can't do yet. And then you can make it your life's work to get that experience. And then also there's an accountability there of, you know, you told me to do these things. I've done them now. So I should be hitting that. And obviously you're then doing all the stuff that Valisa said of writing all the stuff down, showing the impact. And it's in those specific areas where apparently you were lacking before. So I think it shouldn't be something that people are sitting around waiting for. Like your career is really like, it should be a proactive thing where you're saying, I want this. How do I get there? Have those conversations. And a lot of people don't. So when you go to your manager, you have that conversation. There's usually like a level of respect there. And usually they remember you and they want, if you have a good relationship, they want to support you in getting there. So I think, asking is really important.
And a quick one actually, when it comes to like being promoted, because I know a lot of people on TikTok as well, like, oh, if you want more money, just, you know, when you get promoted, you don't get that much money. Is that true? Do you get more money if you leave?
Generally, yes.
Wow, okay.
But not always. And also, we always speak about it. Like, I've had promotions. Like, I went from assistant manager to manager once and I got like a 19K promotion.
Wow.
And that was like, that was insane, I think, because especially because of what I was like on before. But so it just depends on the promotion that you're getting, the kind of work that you're doing. But also, sometimes, I don't know if it's going to sound like it's my privilege speaking, but sometimes the money itself is not worth it. So if you can stay somewhere and get like another 5K, but you can move and get 10. Sometimes for me, when I think about it, going to a new place, going back into probation, knowing that you're not as safe as you were, now you have to prove yourself to all these new people that don't know you. In the current place, everyone knows that you're good, you know how to do your job. Like for the extra 5K, which turns into whatever it turns into at the end, it's like, it just might not be worth it.
Yeah, I agree. I think people need to put it into perspective. Like if 5K and 10K, that's literally like £50 and £100 the difference in pay if you move. So is it worth it? I don't think so. But I will say that if you look at most people and their like salary projection, when you move, it does just keep going. Yeah.
So you might just say, I think it's important to have a number. So you can say, okay, you stay. I always say, okay, for me to move, taking into all those other factors, having to relearn, retrain, talk to new people, do that. Oh yeah, I'm keen. Yeah, all the stuff you don't have to do no more. Yeah, you have to have a number in your mind. Okay, for me to move and go through that stress and take that risk, it's going to cost this number, and that's the number that you have to have in mind. So when someone comes to approach you for 5K or 7K for a new job, you can say, I don't know, or you might say, okay, yeah, that is my number, but you have to have your number in mind. Otherwise, these companies will just come and ginger you anyhow.
Yeah.
Okay, next dilemma is a little bit similar. My colleagues earn 2 times what I'm on, and we pretty much do the same job. I don't want to leave as it's a good role and benefits, but it's grating.
Why don't you want to leave? They hate you.
Oh, God.
Like, I would never understand that. I would never. Don't hate you. No, maybe they don't hate you, but they don't rate you for sure. Because how are you doing the same job and people are earning twice what you earn? No, that's crazy. Or maybe the person perceives that they're doing the same job.
I was going to say, it sounds a bit of, I'm sensing a bit of delulu. Like, just a little bit.
Not delulu.
There's no way. So practical advice. If you know that, ask for a pay rise.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Bring
outright
it to their
ask.
attention.
But don't be like, what I hate is when you say, this person gets paid this much, blah, blah. But you can, there's a way that you can say, look, for the role that I'm doing, I feel like this should be what I'm getting paid. And I think there should be parity between me and other people in the team who were doing the same work. That might be the way you get the shock when they tell you you're not doing the same work. But if you are genuinely doing the same work and you're getting paid half the amount, that is absolutely criminal. Yeah, it's absolutely unacceptable. Especially if the other people are like, a different ethnicity or they're like different gender or whatever. Like that's absolutely criminal and possibly illegal. So just ask for your pay rise. And the way they respond to that is that take your cue if they like you or not. Yeah. Because sometimes it's not about hang around and sometimes we spoke about it. If the people are in your team are getting paid twice what you're getting, outside they probably pay you twice as well. So be applying for jobs, see the offers that you get, and then take it from there.
But I wonder if she was happy and then she found out and that's why she's grating.
But it would
grate. When you find out, she just probably thinking,
can we put in perspective? Yeah. Like, let's say you're on 25K and then you find out your colleagues are on 50. 50.
I'm not smiling anymore.
Not 30, not 35.
Yeah. That means they don't like her. They wanted her to find out because what? We spoke about a case in Northern Ireland quite recently where there was a woman who worked at a company and there were 2 or 3 men that were sitting on the same team as her and they were being paid more than she was for over a decade, more. And she ended up getting, I think it was like 400,000.
Yeah, back pay.
How did she find out?
Backdated. I don't know how she found out, but when she did, she brought it to her employer's attention
Really
and they
gender pay claim.
they didn't really address it. So she put in a claim and got 400k.
Even with this babe, I wonder how she found out. I wonder if it was a case where someone was like, yeah, because we're on 50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
maybe
she's like,
someone
"What?"
said something.
I feel like
Yeah, sometimes you just have to stay calm and just take that in and be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Think about your next step. But also apply for other jobs. I know you don't want to leave, but
why would you want to leave if you found
Maybe
out
she's
that?
comfortable. Maybe she actually likes the job. And
yeah, she might like the job, but it's like if the money. they don't talk. I don't know. It's like ask for your pay rise and see how they respond to it, because the people that you're working with, they know.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like no one knows what you're getting paid. They know, what you're getting paid, and they've decided to do that. That's crazy. I just think that's diabolical.
It is.
Nasty work, honestly.
And last one, not a workplace dilemma, but job dilemma. How do y'all find jobs, especially in London? LinkedIn recruiters just ghost you. I'm a top voice for 5 years experience. And Indeed is dead. Does a babe need to join a running club? CV in hand, with CV in hand. Seems like that's the answer to everything these days. LOL.
These running clubs.
I know.
Oh,
Get you a man, get you a job.
I know, everything. In terms of jobs, the job market right now though is horrible, isn't it? Like, it's really bad. Like, I know a lot of people looking for jobs haven't been able to find them, but I also know people who have been able to find them. I think it depends on what you're looking for, depends on the industry, depends on how senior you are, how junior you are. Like, the more junior roles tend to be more oversaturated to try and find a role. If you specialize in something, you'll probably find it easier to find a role. And just look, some CVs are really bad. Like, some CVs have too much writing on them. Some CVs aren't structured well enough. Some CVs don't actually highlight what the job description is looking for. And also, people have to remember now it's not humans looking at your CV. A lot of it is ATS systems, which recruiters use. And if you don't have certain keywords in your CV, it's not going to pick it up. So before it gets to a human, there's technology involved. So I think it's important to just look at, okay, what does my CV look like, and compare it against X amount of job descriptions of whatever it is you're looking for to see if it actually matches up, and, you know, put it in there, because it is really, really tough. And all it takes is for one person to just have, I don't know, a more recognizable company on their CV or just something like that. It's really competitive at the moment. So also remember, it's not your fault that it is how it is right now.
Yeah, I think the CV stuff is really important, because like, I do recruitment, and I know that I look at a CV. I like, sometimes you can get 100 CVs for a job, and it's like you only have so much time to spend. So I can't be searching through your CV to find the things that I need to find. Even with the ATSs, a lot of time, even if the technology does it and it says, oh, this might be a good candidate, someone is still going to look at your CV. So it's important to, like, that your CV makes sense. I hate looking at a CV which is like really scattered. It's like, it's not even people have CVs that are not even in chronological order.
That's
or
criminal.
like, they don't have headings. I don't know what I'm looking at. So let it be clear. If you're applying for a job as a HR business partner, and, you know, let me see the relevant skills that are for a HR business partner there. If you're applying for a job as a researcher, let me see if you're as an engineer, I want to know the coding languages that you know. Like, all of these things, that it needs to be super clear. You can't have people looking for skills in your CV like a needle in a haystack. Let your achievements be known. Make sure you're on LinkedIn, like, doing the right things in terms of, like, make sure you're switched on to.
So is LinkedIn imperative?
If you're looking for people,
My last job, I got through LinkedIn. A recruiter DM'd me, on LinkedIn.
Are you people being really for real right now?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn.
I mean, I have a LinkedIn profile, but I haven't updated it in like...
Let me tell you, when people tell me that they're looking for, maybe you're not looking for a job, but if people say they're looking for jobs, man, I can't, and they tell me that they're not on LinkedIn.
That's it.
Listen, I'm at that point. I've checked out. Because LinkedIn is really, people say that are LinkedIn recruiters, whatever, but I think the best thing about LinkedIn is that you can put yourself available to opportunities. Not that big green one, because your current employer doesn't need to know. But there's a LinkedIn.
People are brave when they do that.
Yeah. But you can
Where's
set
this
it so
green
that
thing
only
we're talking about?
recruiters can see it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you can set
So
it like that.
on LinkedIn, you can set your profile picture to open to work. And people be in their job, doing their job 9 to 5 with that sticker, with their
God's strongest soldiers.
I can't believe employees following them on
I think that's crazy when you can set it so that recruiters can only see it.
That is crazy. But there's like a way that you can set it so that recruiters can see it. Recruiter license, and put that as on. And then when they're looking, because they'll search like certain skills, like they might just say, okay, I'm looking for a HR person that has special tech, like mergers and acquisitions or something. They'll search those skills, and if those are on your profile, then you'll come forward, and then they'll see if you're open to opportunities. There's also a special filter that they have, so when they're searching, they can search people that are open to opportunities. And most recruiters will do that first because it's like low hanging fruit. So if you switch yourself open to opportunities, you're easier to be found, and then it's not just outbound. You get more inbound. Because the best ones are like or you're just minding your own business and stuff and drops into your inbox. And even if you're not looking to move, I don't think there's anything wrong with setting it open to opportunities. And then, have the conversation. Then you can be like, it might just tell you where I'm at is really where I need to be. Or it might tell you, oh, now it's time to move. But be on LinkedIn, update your profile, have the right skills so that when people are searching, they can actually find you. Put your CV on some of those job boards and stuff as well, like the ones that are open, because like it's just like let people do the work for you and then also be applying with a decent CV.
Yeah, and also with LinkedIn, you have the like easy apply. So if you apply for a job that is on LinkedIn and they have the easy apply thing, you don't have to do anything because it's based on your profile. Okay. So they might ask you a few questions like, do you have the right documents to work in the UK, blah, blah, blah. But then it's your profile that's going to be what
and you can add your CV if you want to. But it's like, it's really very easy to do.
Yeah.
And also on LinkedIn, it's like, there's ways that you can search. It's a bit technical to get into, but basically you can search the post. So there's job ads and then there's also recruiters who are just posting on LinkedIn from their own profile to be like, I'm looking for this person. So you can do like, you can search the job that you're looking for. So you can say HR business partner London. And then people that have written that or like hiring HR business partner London, you can see the post and then you just sort by like dates. So there's jobs that are available that are not on the job boards, but you can use LinkedIn to find it that way. So, and those ones are going to be the ones that have less applications because they're not just on all the job boards and stuff like that.
And I think with LinkedIn as well, if you don't have too much like shame, you can like message, for example, you've applied for a job, you can find the hiring manager, you can find the internal recruiter if an external recruiter is the one that's found you, and you can just DM them and be like, hi, like I applied for this job, blah, blah, blah. Or you can find that I worked at Facebook and I left 2 years ago and I still get people literally as of last week saying, can I refer them? Or do I know somebody who I can talk to give them? Or they'll ask me, like, because I have Black in HR as a platform, they'll ask me, how did you find it as a Black woman working for a tech company? I want to apply for a job there. Like literally as recently as last week. So it's good for stuff like that as well.
That is such a good shout, referrals. So like, if you work at a company that has a referral scheme and you refer someone, they will talk to that person. Like they're never gonna have one of their employees come in and then say, I want, my friend, and then say nah and bin them and without talking to them. They can do that to strangers. But if you know someone that works at the company that you want to apply for, just go onto the company, it will tell you people that you're connected with that work there. Or even if you go there, like you see people who are like second connections, you can see who works at the company if they're your second connection. And it might be like they're your second connection, but they know Vic or they know Velisa. And you can be like, oh, Velisa, how would you know Jamie that works at Meta? And then you'd be like, oh yeah, she's my, can she refer me? Then you're in and you're above everybody else. So I would say, if you can use that referral thing, even if you don't know someone that works there, if your good friend knows someone that works there, you know how we are, like we all help each other. So
wow. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Really appreciated it.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
So much helpful tea. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, where can they find you guys?
Why are you looking at me?
That's actually my part.
Yeah, it's your part.
We are Everybody Hates HR Pod on Instagram and on TikTok. We're also on Twitter. If you see people like clapping back on Twitter, it's Velisa, not me. And on YouTube and the podcast, you can find it on all the like major podcast platforms. So Spotify, Apple, and everywhere else you might find podcasts.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, it was a pleasure.
Catch that Black Girls Living without the G on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. My account is jazz_BW.
And I'm a Vixen on Instagram. Okay, have a blessed week. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.